How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Michael Thurville of VEDA World News. You can see this episode and more at vedacom.com with 2 M's. That is VEDACOMM.com. Today we have a returning guest here, Valencia Williams, running for 18th Congressional District right here in Houston, Texas. And she also has a surprise, and she's being sworn in. Valencia.
Good morning, everyone. It's good to be back. It's good to return. Thank you for inviting me back.
Pleasure.
And I always look forward to engaging with everyone in the community here in Houston. Good morning, Houstonians. And it's great to be here again today.
Yes, ma'am. So before we dive in, we have a couple of things that we're going to talk about today. But the first thing is, you say that you're getting sworn in Washington, D.C. When and for what?
Yes, I am so confident in all the Houstonians and every single Houstonian. And I know that there is a serious awakening in our city when it comes to politics. This is it's a new era.
It is.
It's a new era, and people are tired of the status quo.
They really are.
And they want people who are going to Washington not to fight Donald Trump, but to actually work for them.
Okay.
And that's what I'm going to Washington to do. I'm going to work for the people and not fight Donald Trump.
Okay, well, let me ask you a question. When you say fight for the people or work for the people, what do you mean by that? Be specific.
Well, fighting Donald Trump to me is a lost cause because he's the president of the United States and he's going to sit there for 3 years.
Okay.
And what is fighting him going to do for the people of Texas's 18th Congressional District? It's a waste of time and it's a waste of energy.
Okay.
I'd rather pass legislation that ensures that Texas's 18th Congressional District receives the economical surplus that they have long been without.
Okay.
And so that requires a lot of work versus fighting.
It does. And let me ask you, are you willing to work hand in hand with Republicans in-house?
Absolutely. I call myself the female Bill Clinton.
Okay, let me ask you. I mean, there's a moniker to that here. You know, he has a very famous story, but I don't know how that would pertain to you. But I can understand the sentiment.
It doesn't. Sorry, I don't.
It's okay.
I don't do the Monica Lewinsky.
Well, I didn't say it. You did. But the thing is, we are uncensored here,
of course.
So we don't monitor and tell you what you can and can't say.
Right. Well, no, thank you, Monica. I'm not interested.
Okay. You play the saxophone?
No, I play the flute.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
When I was in 4th grade, I learned how to play the flute.
Okay.
Yeah, Garden Village Music Academy. So yeah. No, when I say I'm like the female Bill Clinton, mm-hmm. He was able to cross boundaries, political boundaries, and he got everything he wanted done. He got it done. Okay. And when he left the office, he left us in the surplus. But he could not have done it if he did not have the skill to actually be able to cross political lines and say, hey, I know you may not like me as a person. Mm-hmm. You may not like my political party. Okay. And you may not even want to see my political party fill this house. However, what we do want, what house we do want to be filled is our Treasury Department, is our surpluses, is our communities, is our banks. And he was able to do that. You saw during Bill Clinton's time, people who were low income become middle class people. Okay. You saw middle class people become rich, and you saw the rich become wealthy. I'm not against wealthy people. Okay. They made their money and they reached that particular plateau in life. And so that's what I mean by being the female Bill Clinton. I want to be able to cross those party lines and say, hey, you may not like my party, and you may not want my party to fill this house. However, but what house we do want to fill is the house of surplus, economical surplus for the whole entire United States of America, not just for Texas 18th Congressional District.
So this surplus, because it's very strange right now. Mm-hmm. I hate to say it, but we're in the tipping point of a recession in many states across this country, mm-hmm. and Texas is in trouble, like most states.
Yes.
This surplus that you speak of sounds contradictory, if that's even a word, to what's happening right now, what people are seeing and experiencing in their pocketbooks. What surplus?
Well, you have to also realize that, when presidents get in the office, they say, oh, I inherited this economical problem. Well, Bill Clinton inherited an economical problem too, but he was able, through strategic ways, his staff people, the people that he chose for his staff members, and that he put in cabinets. It's all about making sure you put the right people in the right places, who are able, and that's how he was able to turn a deficit into a surplus.
Understood. Sorry for the phone calls. Sorry about that. But most definitely, I think that you being in Washington, D.C. could possibly be a plus for many people within the 18th Congressional District. But let's talk about those jobs. What kind of jobs are we looking at for the 18th Congressional District that you're interested in bringing into that section?
Well, I've worked with Bank of America. A lot of people do not know that Bank of America has now raised their minimum wage up to $25 an hour. And that includes those people who are working remotely. A lot of people have become accustomed to being at home, right? A lot of people don't want to get out there. They don't want to go look for a job. And I don't say that they're lazy people. It's just that the jobs that they are able to get are not offering. I don't want people to be able to live comfortably.
What do you mean by that?
Well, you're living from paycheck to paycheck. This is the United States of America. We are the greatest country on the earth. We are the superpower. And that's what everyone keeps reiterating, whether you're Democrat or Republican. But when it comes to the working class people, we don't function like a superpower. Economically, we do not function like a superpower should be functioning. And Bank of America is offering jobs beginning at $25 an hour, and they can work from home. And all you're doing is basically picking up the phone and saying, thank you for calling Bank of America. How can I help you? And you help people solve their problems. You now become a problem solver your own self.
Well, let me ask you, what do you say to the people who may be, a detractor to the work from home situation, where they say, hey, it's hurting jobs working from home?
It's only hurting those people who choose not to go into an office space. We have choices in this country. You can either find a job where you have to go inside the office, or you can find a job where you can work remotely. That's the great thing about this country, the diversity of everything and the freedom that we have to choose. You can choose to work from home, or you can choose to go into an office. That's a choice, and it's not hurting anyone.
I guess maybe I should be more specific.
Now, what's really hurting people, if you ask me, all of the self-checkout lines, because it's taken a lot of jobs from cashiers.
I think that goes into the point that some people were making. They're saying, hey, if people are working from home and that increases, who's selling gas? Who's, that donut shop that people stop by, that coffee that people get in the morning, the suits and the business attire and business accessories and desks and notary supplies, all of those things go into businesses. Who's making those things if there's a significant decline in people going to a quote-unquote office?
But the majority of work-at-home jobs are in the customer service field. And that includes, they're not secretaries, but most of the administrative work are the at-home jobs, like customer service. Thank you for calling Bank of America. Thank you for calling Amazon. We need those telemarketers too, don't we?
Do we?
Obviously, Bank of America has raised minimum wage from $20 to $25.
I'm looking at the situation. I'm looking at the landscape. We are looking at the advent of artificial intelligence, which is actually replacing, quote unquote, a lot of people out of those jobs, or phasing a lot of people out, because a lot of those jobs are considered repetitive tasks.
When you look at the overall consensus of AI and the actual job that AI does, AI works is multifaceted.
It is.
It's not just for those people who are working at home. It's not replacing people. It really isn't. all it's doing is it's inputting technology into a system that's way behind and causing it to move at a faster pace. And because people are not trained in AI, and you really don't have to be trained in AI, when Elon Musk came out and he began to infiltrate our government, I said, whoa, this is a good thing.
That is a key word. You said infiltrate, as if he was a spy of some sort. I had to just really kind of pick that up.
He's not a spy.
Okay.
When he infiltrated our government, when he was inserted into our government,
Okay.
and then he introduced AI into a system that was archaic. It was draconian.
Okay.
And when he integrated this particular technology, and he introduced it and he integrated it, the previous system was not able to pick up at the pace in which AI was operating. And so it caused a lot of things like purging out historical data and those sort of things. And so it is with people. A lot of people are afraid of AI technology because it's moving at a pace that they're not accustomed to. And unfortunately, a lot of people are being phased out of those jobs because they're not able to adapt as quickly as AI is moving.
Understood. So what do you think the solution would be for such?
Well, for those people, I would take my severance and I would probably seek a job in a field that works at a pace that I'm accustomed to working at.
Well, let me ask you a question. What about the people who, let's say they get adversely impacted by artificial intelligence,
Which a lot of people did, especially in the federal government.
but they're not able, or they may not have those skills, or maybe those classes may be full or something like that. There's always this what if. You know what I mean? We could do that forever.
Forever.
But the thing is, in practicality, most people don't seek that. They just go to a job laterally.
Right. But again, that is an old system. That's an old era.
Okay. So
And
what is
now
the
we
new
have
era?
entered into a new era of AI technology. And you have to be able to integrate yourself into that particular technology. And for those people who are not able to, I didn't study AI. It's just something that I looked at when Elon Musk introduced it into our governmental systems.
Okay.
And I saw the purging of things that should not have been purged. And I said to myself, oh, all he did was he integrated AI with the system, an old system that's not able to keep up with the AI technology, which is causing all these glitches and these firings and so on and so forth. It's not intentional. And so again, it is with people, we evolve. And some people evolve at a faster pace, which is what AI technology is. But some people cannot.
So
Which
what do
is
we do for
understood.
those people?
What do we do for those people? Well, within those particular sectors, like in the government, for the federal government, for instance, surely there are jobs where AI has not infiltrated that particular area of the federal government, and maybe they just need to be shifted to
Okay.
those particular places versus being fired or quitting.
So let's take a law enforcement officer, an FBI agent, or something like that. If they get phased out, where do they go?
Well, our law enforcement officers will never be phased out. AI technology can never replace.
But they have been.
Oh no, AI technology can never replace our people who protect and serve us. That cannot
Well,
happen.
I don't know, because we just had massive layoffs in the federal government in which FBI agents were affected, and they have been laid off.
How? For what reason?
Political. It could be political. It could be.
So it's not AI
anything.
then.
No, I'm just saying. But what do we do for those people?
For those people who have been wrongfully terminated, they need to go through the proper procedures for wrongful termination and receive their compensation accordingly.
Okay. Just like that.
We have laws that protect them.
Okay.
They protect us, and we have laws that also protect them as well. I am 100% for our law enforcement officers, whether they're on the federal, state, or local level.
Why?
And when that happens,
We're curious. Why?
well, because they protect us,
'Cause I mean,
and they don't have to.
I see a lot of people that are like that, and they'll say, "Hey, we protect law enforcement, and we love law enforcement.
Right.
We're pro law enforcement." But I really struggle to understand why.
Because they protect us and they don't have to. They could have gotten a job anywhere. and sought a job anywhere, but they chose to go through the scrutiny, the training, and everything just to protect people like you and I who they will never meet or know.
I don't know. I'm going to give you more pushback on that because technically law enforcement is a reactive system. It's not proactive, meaning that something has to happen in order for them to respond to what's called a call.
Absolutely.
So they're not legally bound to protect anybody. They protect property.
And they protect us as well.
How so?
When we call 911, they are there.
But you've already been accosted by the person that either broke into your house or molested you. They weren't there.
Well, no.
That's not protection.
That's protection. It is protection. Because the person who has committed those criminal acts against you will now be held accountable.
How often, and again, not pushing back too hard or in a negative light,
No.
but when you only solve 30 to 40% of the cases that come across your desk, how are you really helping people?
Well, I'm not a law enforcement officer,
Okay.
so I couldn't tell you what procedures they follow, how they go about their criminal cases, how they decide whether or not they are going to actually arrest someone. My understanding is that when they arrive on the scene, they do an investigation.
True.
And once they do that investigation and they believe that there is probable cause, then they pick up the phone, they call the district attorney.
Let me ask you a question. What are your thoughts on probable cause? There's
A fine line.
not necessarily a fine line, but there is a debate. They're saying, hey, we should get rid of probable cause. Terry versus Ohio, which is another factor. And or then there's other people saying, well, we need probable cause. What are your thoughts on that?
On probable cause. I think that the probable cause laws are very draconian.
Okay.
And I believe that they definitely need to be amended because there are many cases, especially when it comes to African American people, and this has been the fact throughout history, where probable cause has been our enemy when we were innocent folk.
Understood.
And so I believe that the probable cause laws are draconian, again, in that they do need to be amended.
All right, so
And then I also think that our police officers need more training on probable cause, because that would avoid a lot of innocent people being arrested. That would avoid a lot of lawsuits against the city by people who have been innocently accosted and jailed, in prison, wrongfully imprisoned. And so that's my stance. I think probable cause is good, but it's draconian.
okay. I just want the people to understand what's your position and your perspective on such, because oftentimes people don't get to hear these particular conversations.
Yes, of course. Yeah, no. Our probable cause laws across the United States of America and here in Houston, Harris County are definitely draconian, and they definitely need to be amended, and the officers need extensive training on probable cause.
Okay, so are you saying that law enforcement officers on the state and local and federal levels do not receive enough education?
On probable cause, no.
Okay.
And I believe that the probable cause laws are very vague as well.
Okay.
I believe they're very, very vague, and they definitely need to be amended.
Understood. Shifting gears, you are to be, sworn in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
For what position?
Oh, I am going to be Texas's 18th Congressional District next Congress member. I believe that wholeheartedly.
Wholeheartedly.
I believe in Houstonians.
Okay, let me ask you.
I believe in them. I believe
Why?
in them 100%.
Why?
Because they want a change in the district.
Okay.
They want to change, and they don't want to hear the change. They want to see the change.
Understood.
And for a very long time, the people in Texas's 18th Congressional District, there has been no change. It's been the same thing over and over again.
So what makes you different than, let's say, your predecessor, Sheila Jackson Lee, or in this case, Congressman Sylvester Turner?
Well, what makes me different is that I am not focused on just Fifth Ward and Cashmere Gardens.
Okay.
Texas's 18th Congressional District is a very large district.
It is.
And I love it, especially with the redistricting, because it's become even more diverse.
Okay.
And I have always been about bringing people together who normally do not come together. And in Texas's 18th Congressional District, we have Hispanic people, which by the way, is a shock to everyone because everyone thinks that Texas's 18th Congressional District is predominantly an African American district.
Okay.
The demographics are wrong. It is a predominantly Hispanic district.
Okay.
Yes. And then African American people have now become the minority.
Well, let me ask you, if the Hispanic community is the majority in this particular district, how do you plan to connect with them?
Oh, well, I have Puerto Rican roots. My dad is Puerto Rican.
Okay.
So, and my many years of travel and being around so many different people gives me that edge over everyone. I believe in exclusivity, including everyone. We are a district. We are a community of people. And that is it. It doesn't matter whether you're Hispanic, African American, Asian, white, or even the Polish people who live there. There's a large Polish.
I remember you saying that.
Yes, there's a large Polish community over there. The fact of the matter is that we are all a community of people. We're family.
I would most definitely say, and again, I'm not of any Mexican descent or anything like that, but I believe that the first things Mexicans would ask is, what are you going to do for the Mexicans that live in the Congressional 18th District?
I'm going to do the same thing for the Hispanic community that I will do for the African American community, that I will do for the white people there, that I would do for the Asian people there, that I would do for the indigenous people there.
Two things. I understand.
I'm going to work for everyone.
I understand that. But everyone does not hold that particular value. Some people may be considered to be selfish when it comes to ethnic things like that.
Oh, no.
And so they may say something to the effect of, again, what did you plan to do specifically for us? Why should we vote for you if I was Hispanic?
Well, I'm the only candidate that has devised an immigration plan. And it's something that I've spoken about publicly for many years. And I suggested years ago that, number one, we expand the judges on our immigration courts.
Okay.
We have plenty of law attorneys here in Houston, Texas.
We do.
We have plenty of them in Houston. We have plenty of them in Texas. And why can't those particular courts be expanded so that we can now process immigrants in a lot more faster, process their paperwork, get them on the pathway to citizenship? But we cannot do that unless we put more judges. Now, when we open our seats up to more judges on the immigration courts, it eases the tension that this whole country is going through. Number two, I also propose revamping DACA. There are some parts of DACA that I want to use to keep a lot of illegal immigrants here.
Now, for those who don't know what DACA is, could you please explain for the audience?
DACA is for those who are seeking an education in the United States of America. They are able to stay here and they are able to continue their education through the DACA program. Now, the thing about it is that when President Barack Hussein Obama, when he was president, that Texas did fight against DACA. They did take it to the courts, and they tried to get DACA thrown out.
Okay.
But I am a staunch advocate of DACA, so I will continue DACA's program, but I want to expand on that legislation a little bit more to include not only those people who are in high school who want to stay here and continue their education, but I want to open it up to, what about the older people who want to go back to school? I met a lady who's in her 60s the other day, and she's Hispanic, and she said that she has been trying to go back to school, but because of her status in the United States of America, she is afraid to. So I said,
what is her status, if you don't mind us asking?
Oh, she's not a legal citizen. She's an illegal immigrant.
Okay, now let's stop here. Many people, this is not a VEDA thing, this is just the observation. Many people would say, well, she's an illegal immigrant. She should not be allowed to attend colleges and university. You're not legal.
I understand that she is not legal, but it is her ambition she wants to go to college just to learn English. And she wants to study American history, which I said, that's a good idea, because you're in a place that is not your own. You are a foreigner in a foreign land. It's a good idea to study how this particular country works, so you better know how to navigate whilst you're in this country.
Well, again, we don't take sides here.
Right.
But strictly speaking, I don't think that, well, we don't think that her priorities should be going to college. It should be ensuring that she has legal
status.
citizenship.
Yes.
The priorities, maybe?
No, because we have an F1 program here.
Okay.
And so people can come here as students, no matter what their age is. As far as Houston Community Colleges, I've partnered with them for a very long time.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter how old you are, you can go to Houston Community College and you can get your education.
This is good, and this is true.
So what I want to do is I want to fuse the F1 program with the DACA program to now up the age limit for those people who are already here illegally. If they have not committed any crimes, if they have paid taxes, and I do mean no crimes, not even so much as a traffic citation, I am, again, willing to expand our court system to now include more judges that will handle those particular people's cases.
But they wouldn't have a case.
Well, no, they all have a case. If you're here illegally, your file is sitting on someone's desk. Trust and believe that. And there are people who have overstayed their visas here. So
this is also true.
They have a file, but again, we don't have enough judges. When it comes to the expansion of DACA to include older people who are here illegally, I also want to instill a program for those children who came here with their parents, who came here illegally. And in that particular program, that legislation, I wanted to include 2-parent homes where they have a child who has come to the United States illegally, but are attending our schools for one parent to voluntarily deport. And whilst the other parent stays here, goes through the legal process of becoming a citizen, and that child as well, because technically their children are here illegally as well. They're sitting in our classrooms illegally.
I don't know. I'm going to give you pushback, and I'm going to take a point of personal privilege. That is a broken home. And when we have broken homes, historically, it doesn't turn out well for not only those people that come from broken homes, but it turns out pretty bad for the people within the community. I don't think that funding illegal immigrants using Americans' taxpayers' money, which we have absolutely no idea where that money goes, should be given to people who are here already breaking the law.
I'm not saying that we should use taxpayers' dollars. They have to work. They have to work while they are here. It's a work, study abroad program.
Okay.
They have to work. I am not for using our taxpayers' dollars to fund any illegal immigration programs.
And the second question would be, why should an employer extend employment for a illegal immigrant when there's people here looking for jobs?
Well, if they are looking for jobs, well, I'm not saying for any business to choose an illegal immigrant over someone who's an American citizen.
Quite surely you cannot pay these people the same. They are not from here.
No, you cannot. But if we are using an integrated system, like the AI was integrated into an old system, if we are using them, if we are integrating them now into our society through a particular legal process, then they are here on a B1 work visa, as well as a F1 visa as well. And so,
go ahead.
Having said that, I would never in my life tell anyone I have a problem actually with those who keep choosing illegal immigrants over United States citizens. They have been given thousands of dollars when they came here. They've been given hotel rooms. Meanwhile, we have so many homeless people on our streets here in the United States of America. And so those things have left a very bad taste in my mouth. However, I'm presenting solutions for a problem that has been going on throughout every administration. Okay. Whether they are a Democrat or a Republican. Barack Obama, he faced the same thing where he had to also deport illegal immigrants. I am for keeping our borders, keep them closed 100%. But then when you have presidents who fly people from Afghanistan who have not been properly vetted into our country and say, welcome, and here's $1,000, here's $5,000, here's a new home, here's an apartment. And you have people flocking to them. And we have the very American citizen who has worked, but has found themselves falling on hard times. And these very same people will not so much as give them a morsel of bread. That's where you have the discourse between illegal immigrants and American citizens, which I understand. I'm one of those people.
Okay.
I don't believe, once again, I will say it again, I don't believe in incentivizing people who choose to self-deport. Why am I giving you $1,000? That's not $1,000 out of any of those lawmakers' pockets. That's $1,000 out of your pocket and out of our pocket.
Of course, agreed.
No. We have a system in place when it comes to deportation. They catch them, they put them in the detention center, you fly them out on the plane, and that is it. Why are you using my taxpayers' dollars?
And it still takes taxpayers' dollars to fly people out.
Absolutely.
Gas is not free.
It is not free. And so, again, I am fully, wholeheartedly for our borders being closed. Seal them, seal them, seal them. We have an immigration system here. We can only allow so many people to come into our country every year or every couple of years. Why? So it doesn't put an economical strain on our social welfare system, on our educational system, on our law enforcement system, and on our taxpayers. You know, they cannot continue to tell the taxpayers to sacrifice for people who are not American citizens.
Understood.
Enough is enough.
What is your perspective on firearms? That is a hot button ticket item. I haven't seen any candidates really address that. We got the status quo message on that, but they didn't really address it. What are your thoughts and perspectives on firearms, gun violence? What are your perspectives on that?
I believe that the laws that they have in place, they won't work.
Why not?
They will not. You have to be 18. Now they're saying that they're going to raise the age for people who can get firearms. What does that have to do with people who are able to purchase illegal firearms on the streets every day? It doesn't help anything. There is a conversation that I had with someone when it comes to protecting our schools and protecting our buildings and those sort of things, from people who decide that today is going to be the day that they take out their anger on innocent people, especially children who are praying in schools or people who are sitting in churches. It's an all out of, we talk about the attack on Jewish people and everybody runs because of the Holocaust, but what about the attack and the persecution on Christians? It seems to be rising in this country for some odd reason or another. But when it comes to guns, I am for people who are legally able to be able to purchase firearms.
Okay. Why? Just curious.
Because of the particular climate that we're in. Gun violence is in every single city in our country. No governor can stand before any camera and say, oh, we don't have gun violence in our state. It's a lie.
Okay.
Gun violence is not perpetrated by the gun, but by the human being themselves.
This is also understood.
It's an inanimate object. If I pick, this phone will lay here as long as I don't touch it. But then when I pick it up, it begins to perform certain things, but it can't even perform those functions without me.
Understood.
Without me actually using them. So when it comes to guns, I am for people protecting themselves. What do I think that needs to be done when it comes to the gun violence in the United States of America and gun laws? It doesn't matter if you file a serial number off of a gun. What you can never file off a gun is people's fingerprints. And one way or another, everyone in the United States of America, their fingerprints are in the system. Whether it be for the airport, whether it be for some sort of identification, your fingerprints are in the system. When guns are sold illegally on the street, I believe at the federal level we need to increase the penalties for doing so. For those people who are selling illegal weapons on the street. I believe that we now need to penalize them and put them in prison for a longer, extensive time in jail, in prison. I believe that if anyone is caught selling a gun, and for the buyer who has bought an illegal firearm on the street. I believe that they should be incarcerated for no less than 20 years. And then I believe that we should impose, for each bullet that's in that gun, that we should impose a 10-year penalty.
I think I'm going to give you a pushback on that, and I'm going to tell you why. 20 years is a long time. When you penalize someone like that, and it is a felony case at that time when it's like 20 years, you're taking not only someone out of the workforce, but you're also destroying the livelihood of that person, and you're also destroying that person's family.
They have destroyed families by selling illegal firearms. How many people have been killed by illegal firearms?
I don't have the numbers on that, so I couldn't necessarily answer that.
They're not the victim, they are the problem.
You think so?
They are the problem. They are selling illegal firearms to people who should not be in possession of weapons. So they made their decision. So now we're going to put the responsibility on the shoulders where it belongs. If you decide to sell an illegal firearm, you know that you will get 20 years prison sentence minimum. And you know for every bullet that is in that firearm that you're going to get 10 years for each bullet, and it's not going to run consecutively either.
Okay.
So that makes them make another decision, doesn't it?
I don't think so, because people still kill people every day, and the death penalty is there, and it has not stopped people from killing other people.
But it has not been instituted when it comes to firearms.
And for so many other people, not all.
Mm-hmm.
We look at this situation and we say, hey, who's going to house these people? That means that we have to, $30,000 a year, $40,000 a year, just for one person in a prison?
But
That's a lot of money.
how many lives have you saved? How many lives have you saved? How many futures have you saved in the United States of America? How many families have you saved from crying on the front row of a funeral? So it's worth it.
It's worth it. Okay. And that's fine. And I can accept that. And I think a lot of people can accept it too, because you are entitled to your position here at VEDA World News.
Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, when it comes to those who have who have acquired firearms legally in the United States of America, but then you leave those firearms in the place where your teenage son who's been bullied by people in junior high school and high school are able to have access to those weapons. I believe that those parents do need to be penalized as well. And what I want to do is to cause people to change their decision-making process. And that cannot happen. People can say, oh, my thoughts and prayers are with the family. My thoughts and prayers are with the family. Mm-hmm. My thoughts and prayers are with the family. My thoughts and prayers, and it's going to cost $50,000 just to house these people who are buying and selling illegal firearms. But how can you put a price on a life? How can you put a price on someone who just lost their child to someone who is disgruntled, or who these people have done no wrong to? There has to be a decision-making process changed by those people who decide to do these sort of things. For these parents who are leaving their firearms in a place where their underage children have access to them, they are negligent parents. And their negligence is costing so many innocent children their lives. And so I believe that they too should also be penalized, not with fines.
Well, what about the parents who do lock up their firearms and the child breaks the lock or something like that?
Well, then we need to require those people who are having firearms in their homes to now have safes with codes on them.
I don't know. I don't think that. I think it's a good idea.
Because
I think in practicality, because most people purchase firearms for self-defense.
Absolutely.
So locking up a firearm defeats the purpose of self-defense.
No, it does not, because you will put your firearm, I don't know about you, but you put your firearm in a place where it's accessible to you should there be a home invasion or something like that. In addition to that, we have so much technology now, like AI technology, and we have security cameras that are able to go out a 100-mile radius, a 360 radius. And so home invasions are not like they used to be with all this new technology that's able to track a perpetrator before they even get to your front door these days and times. And you can access it on your cell phone, you can access it from anywhere you are.
Very rarely caught.
They are indeed caught, thanks to all of this new technology, like the cameras, the home cameras, and all those
I'll
things.
share a story that happened right here at VEDA World News. Less than a month ago, we had $10,000 worth of equipment stolen from us. Right? There was a camera right there. They can't find this person. We can't get our $10,000 worth of equipment back unless we file that claim with the insurance agency.
Absolutely.
So how does that benefit VEDA World News?
I think that law enforcement agencies, when it comes to home invasions, need to now collaborate. When you have something like that, where they don't have that technology on a local level, we do have facial recognition on a federal level. So I believe that when it comes to home invasions, we need to be able to work with law enforcement on a higher level that has that facial recognition technology.
Well, I think
Or, even better, I believe that when it comes to funding our local police officers, we actually need to be able to give them the capability to be able to have that particular access that the FBI has, such as facial recognition. I believe a lot of people would be caught if we did that.
I think a lot of people on the opposite end would say that's a governmental overreach.
No.
Now, China has facial recognition on cameras on every corner.
Absolutely.
So, and they have absolutely hardly no crime.
Right.
No gun crime. Let's start there.
No gun crime, right. But this is facial recognition to catch a criminal who stole $10,000 worth of equipment from your studio, who so boldly saw these cameras everywhere and still decided to come into your particular facility and steal $10,000 worth of equipment. No, he threw all of his rights out of the window when he decided to do that. Again, I want to put legislation in place that makes people change their decision-making and thought-making process, and that cannot be done unless tougher penalties are imposed upon those who are committing criminal acts.
So what we're looking at is not necessarily deterrence, but you're trying, not you, but you're offering the solution to police people's thoughts. If you're looking to influence their thinking and processes for cognition.
No, I don't want to influence.
Okay.
I want them to make better decisions that will save hundreds of people's lives, especially when it comes to the outbreak of gun violence in the United States of America. If I'm a parent and I know that if I don't properly store my firearm to keep it away from my teenage son or teenage daughter, that I could possibly face up to 10 years in prison, day for day.
What I mean,
being away from my child that I love so much.
It's
being
difficult.
away from my husband, being away from my wife, being away from my mother, my brother, my sister, my uncle, my auntie, my grandmother, who I love that peach cobbler pie so much. I know that if I don't properly store my firearm so that my teenage child cannot get my firearm, that I'm going to be away from all my loved ones and that good old peach cobbler for the next 10 years without any probation or parole. I bet you they will begin to now secure those
I think
weapons.
that the one thing that we could do,
Those people who sell illegal firearms on the street, if they know that I'm going to get 20 years minimum in prison, and I'm going to get 10 years for each bullet that particular firearm can carry, and that it's not going to be consecutive time.
I don't know. I don't see that happening. In good faith, I don't see that happening.
The reason why China and those countries do not see gun violence is because of the penalties that come along with committing crimes. And the same thing with Russia. They have who wants to go to a penal colony in Russia? No one wants to go there. So what do? They make sure that they don't commit crimes that will land them in that particular penal colony.
I think the underlying current for BRICS countries such as China and Russia is that they help their people instead of saying, hey, we're going to penalize you after the fact. I think that in a case like China, China comes in and says, hey, we're going to give you this, we're going to foster an environment for you so that you don't go down this path of violence. So I think that, again, personal privilege as a journalist is that giving people what they need before they get to that point where they got to start doing crime. 'Cause I don't believe anyone wakes up and says, hey, I'm going to rob somebody today. I think that they wake up and say, hey, I don't know how I'm going to pay rent and avoid this eviction unless I snatch this purse.
Well, when you are not able to pay your rent, is that the thought that came into your mind?
Well, in the case for me, if I'm unable to pay rent, I will look harder or I would create a job. You know what I mean? That's what I would do.
That's your thought process.
But that's just me. You know what I mean?
And why won't you snatch a purse, by the way?
I'm not saying I'm opposed to snatching purses.
No. Why won't you snatch
because I
purse?
would, for me, I would try my best to exhaust all resources and processes that I could do, that I could ever think about, that I can ever ask for guidance on. And if I cannot, for any reason, it could be 10 years, I'm gonna take that purse.
But why won't you initially snatch the purse?
Because I just firmly believe
Do you want to go to jail?
It's not about going to jail.
Do you want to go to jail?
No, I don't want to go to jail, but I've worked in a prison, right? So I know what happens there, right?
Thank you.
But it's not about the prospect of going to jail or prison. It's not that. The necessities, Maslow's hierarchy of needs must be met. So if those needs are not being met for people, then they are essentially forced to do so by indirect hand.
No, they are not forced to.
I don't know anybody who's going to die hungry.
No.
Not in this country.
No, they're not forced to, because we have a social. If you're hungry, go get food stamps. If you are,
it's not that easy.
If you are, oh yes, it is. You just walk into the Texas.
I'm going to give you pushback, and
but
it
hold
is
on.
not.
You go into the Texas Department of Health and Human Services. You say, I have no money, and I have no food, and they give you an application to fill out, and when you fill out that application, they input all your stuff into the system. They say, okay, we can now give you $200 or $300 worth of food stamps.
That
and now
is
you're no
not
longer
surviving.
hungry. Emergency food stamps. So for 3 to 6 months, your food expense is now covered.
No, it is not.
Yes, it is. With
No,
food
it is
stamps.
not. No, it is not. $250 is not enough to buy anybody a month's worth of food.
It is.
It is not.
It is. Well, if you go to Bud's House of Meat, it is, and get a meat packet, you can definitely survive off of $250 in food stamps a month.
We're talking.
And then if you go to Aldi, where they sell things in bulk, you can get a whole bag of rice for about maybe like $10, and that's a huge bag of rice. So you see, when you are in that particular position, now certain skills begin to come to your mind. Okay, I have to budget now. Now I can take my food stamp card, I can go to Bud's House of Meat, I can give me a meat pack, my whole freezer is now full of meat for about 50 or 60 bucks.
What about for people, we're speaking in terms of a single person.
Even if you're homeless on the streets here, I don't know about other states, but even if you're homeless here in the state of Texas, in Houston, Texas, you can go to the food stamp office. They will give you what's called emergency food stamps, meaning you will not leave out that door the same way you came. You're going to walk out with a card, and it's going to have money on it.
I wish we had an audience here. I would love to see what the audience would have to say.
I'm telling you.
You know, because I like to hear this kind of conversation where people can actually talk. And even if they disagree, they can still be friends.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
right.
Because everybody's not going to have the same perspective on that.
Right.
But I'm giving you pushback on
So
that because I look
that's your
at people.
food subsidy. That's your food subsidy. And you know, people are always talking about free. Now you got free food. I'm just saying. And if you're on the verge of being homeless, we have so many people you can go to. You can go to Baker Ripley. I was a member.
Baker Ripley is not that good.
No, they're not. I'm just saying. You know, I've had experience with Baker Ripley, and it wasn't good. You can go to churches like Windsor Village United Methodist Church. I was a member there for over 20-something years. And I can tell you, if the money is there, Windsor Village does not
We'll
check.
help you.
They don't check your tithes and offerings like certain other mega churches that are non-African American descent. They don't check to see if you're a member there. They don't check to see anything. They just say, bring your bill, and if we have the money, we're going to pay for it.
Fair enough. That is fair.
But the problem with that is that a lot of people don't know about those particular churches. The churches that they think will help are the very churches who check their background, their giving background. Why are you checking my giving background when I am in need of emergency services?
Now, I have to tell you, I'm not a church-going person.
Right.
So this is the first time I'm really having this conversation with
Right,
anyone.
right.
Like, I didn't know they would check, quote unquote, a background
They
in
check
order
your
to.
tithes and what tithes and offerings. I'm not going to say what two churches that
I think you should.
that I personally went to and asked for help, and they told me that I didn't pay enough tithes for them to assist me.
Now listen, I'm going to tell you here, we love names. Because, no, I'm going to tell you why, because that is an injustice for people.
It is.
You filed, well, not you, but that church filed a 501c nonprofit status.
Correct.
To help people.
Correct.
And so if you're not in the business of helping people filing under that 501c3, then I think that
they should lose their 501c3 status.
Yes.
Absolutely. And so I personally, in the time of need, I went to them and I said, hey, I'm living here and I need assistance. And they sent me an email. I still have that email till today. And they told me that I didn't pay enough tithes.
I would say, listen, look, even though you may not want to say any names, I want to say some names. So if you can send me that email, I will go ahead and cut that video and say,
well,
listen.
it was Pastor Hilliard's church.
I don't know who that is.
It was Pastor Hilliard's
What is the name of that church?
He used to be known as the helicopter pastor. What is it called? New Light or something like that? Is that the name of it?
If it is, we don't know.
Pastor Ivy Hilliard. It was his church.
That's his church. Sir, you need to do better. We are urging you to do better. You should not be checking the backgrounds of people in need. People are in need for a reason. They need help. A lot of people need help.
Yeah.
And put people before profit.
Yeah. And so a lot of people don't know, after experiencing those particular churches, they don't know about churches like Windsor Village United Methodist Church.
Okay.
They don't know that you don't have to be a member. They don't know that they don't check your tithes and offerings. They simply say, bring your bill. And if they have the money, they will pay it. They will pay it.
That is good.
They will pay it. So,
especially with Christmas coming around the corner, Thanksgiving, this is a very depressing time for a lot of people. A lot of suicides happen around this time.
Christmas time.
Yes, ma'am.
You are absolutely correct. And so when it comes to meeting, that's why I started my charity, Halo and Associates Incorporated. It's something that I wanted to do since I was 15 years old. And I was working at the law office of Portal Trueheart and McStay. Mm-hmm. And I went to one of the partners, Mr. Crane, okay. all white firm in the Galleria area. They dissolved. And I said, all right, I'm done with this. I want to start my charity. And I said, I want to help a lot of young girls. And I want to help a lot of people to overcome a lot of trials and tribulations. And I want to be able to, feed children in Africa. And I want to be able to...
Well, why Africa? We got hungry children right here.
Well, since I was 5, I always wanted to feed children in Africa.
Was it because of those commercials? That is such an injustice. I do not like that. And this is not to say all of Africa is like that. Most of Africa is probably not like that. I've never been to Africa. But we have hungry children right here in the United States of America.
Right.
That should be illegal.
Right. Well, those church people, those mega church people come on TV and they show all those starving children. God. And so here I am, a 5-year-old child saying, and I'm like, why are these children starving? Where are their parents? Why are they letting these children starve? So since I was 5 years old, I've always wanted, which I've done. I've been to Africa. I've built a school over there and gone to West Africa. I've fed the children. I've fed grown people.
Again, posing the same question, why build a school there when we can build a school here? We have kids right here who can't read. I've seen a kid 15 in the 5th grade, can't even fit in the desk.
Yes, I'm going to go there. I didn't start in Africa.
Okay.
I began my charity in 2007. And when I left the law firm, I took my last paycheck And I opened my office and everything. And I have fed children. Through my charity, I did the summer food program.
Okay.
Where children would come to my office. And I had I bought a refrigerator because I had 3 rooms. And so they delivered meals every day. I would have to call the summer food program and I would have to order meals. And I always ordered the maximum, which was 100 meals.
Okay.
And the children would come and they would come and get and so they were not hungry while school was out. And I did that for as long as I could, to the point where I even helped another church. When I wasn't able to do it anymore, I transferred it over to a local church. And I think that they're probably still running that program under my charity, which is fine, as long as people are getting fed. So I've done that. I've fed children here. I started here first. And then at Jones High School, I took a whole pallet full of baby diapers because they had the program for teenage moms, so they could stay in school. And Jones High School set up a daycare. So their babies would be there, their children would be there while they're attending school. And so I decided, because I attended Jones High School for a tad bit, and I decided to take it upon myself to get a pallet full of baby formula, diapers, baby wipes, baby onesies. My mother and I, may she rest in peace. And I gave it to Jones High School, to those teenage mothers, because I was a teenage mother. And I recall how much of a struggle it was. I had my first son when I was 16 years old. And it was such a struggle. But so from the things that I have experienced, I've also made sure that when I was able to, and when I was financially put in a position, or with that one, I was able to go to different stores.
Okay.
And they contributed all of those items for those teenage mothers over at Jones High School. So I've used whatever I had, my charitable organization, to do things like that. When it comes to toy drives, because like you said, Christmas is the most depressing part of the year, because people who are parents, single parent homes, 2-parent homes, people are struggling. You know, I always talk about the bread and butter politics. Working class people are struggling. With this government shutdown, people are struggling even more, and it seems like no one cares. They're too busy, you know, pontificating from the political pulpits, and not really caring about the American people. When a woman calls into a legislator and says, "My husband is a veteran, he served this country, and we're already struggling to put food on the table, and your government shutdown is making it relatively impossible for us to get the medication that he needs for his PTSD, the medication that our children need for their ADHD because of your government shutdown." And then they play these people's sob stories on television for all of us to see, but yet they offer no solution. Yet they still sit in their house, in their luxurious houses, where they get paid tremendous, a king's ransom with our taxpayers' dollars, by the way.
Okay.
And they still make a decision day after day to sit in their houses and their luxurious apartments instead of going to work and trying to reach a deal where the people like that woman, or like you and I, we are working class people, are able to get the monies and the subsidies that we work so hard for. To get. Instead, they choose to do otherwise. They choose to sit on their thrones and again pontificate from the podiums and the pulpits of Washington, D.C., or their state houses or wherever they've been elected to, versus choosing the American people. Those things really hit me hard. And so my charitable organizations throughout the years, I've been able to provide toys for people who may be going through depression because they're not able to get toys to their children, or to maybe even to their grandchildren. A lot of grandparents are raising their grandchildren these days because the mothers and fathers are choosing to do things other than raise their children. And I've done things like pay people's bills during Christmas time. I've done things like seeing a woman who is in a wheelchair in 3rd Ward by the Fiesta. She was crossing the street and she didn't have any legs. And she was struggling because she was an older woman to roll her wheelchair. And so I stopped my car, I parked it on the side. I was driving my gold Mercedes C-Class at that time.
So you didn't have to say all of that. You didn't have to say all of that.
Because people think that people are elitist.
Understood.
And they don't expect for certain people who drive certain cars or live a certain way to be actually compassionate without wanting anything in return.
Understood.
And so I got out of my vehicle and I parked it, and I wheeled her across the street, and I said, do you have a phone number? And she said yes, and I got her phone number. She didn't know what I was going to do. But there is also a program here, I don't know if it still exists because that was back in 2008. I found out that there is a place that donates electric wheelchairs.
Okay.
And so I called them. I said, I have a charitable organization. I faxed them over my 501c3 papers. I said, I just need one of your electric wheelchairs, just one. And they gave it to me, and I called her and I said, how are you doing today? She said, well, you know, I'm at Motel 6, and she wasn't able to pay her bills sometimes. And so sometimes I would surprise her by going to Motel 6 and saying, hey, just call her and let her know that her bill has been paid for a week or for 3 days or for 2 days or whatever I can afford.
Yes, ma'am.
And I called her, and she was telling me about her struggles. And I said, well, if you go to the front office at the Motel 6, there's something that's going to be waiting for you. Mm-hmm. And we delivered her electric wheelchair, and that was it. I haven't seen that woman till today.
Wow.
And so my charity has provided all of these services for those people who are in need during COVID-19 while all the churches shut their doors. I was like, no, because how are people going to eat? How are these people who can no longer, who are not considered essential workers, how are they going to put food on the table if they can't go to work, if they can't get their paycheck? And so I put out a call on Facebook, on social media. I said, my charitable organization, through my for-profit company, L8A Corporation, because I was contracting with the federal government at that time, and I was making a great living. And I said, through my charitable organization, I'm going to treat 3 single women and their children to groceries at Bud's House of Meat. I'm going to provide $222 worth of groceries. And if you know anyone who's in need, send them to me. So the 3 women were sent. One of them was even sent by their pastor.
Okay, so everybody's watching.
The pastor of the church, who was building a brand new church, and him and his wife were wearing Versace and riding limousines. But you're sending your church member who's in need to me. And let me tell you something, Black folks are so loyal to their pastors, because we were at Bud's House of Meat. And this woman said, I wonder if pastor would like some smoked turkey leg. I said, Madame, does your son like smoked turkey leg?
Well, let me ask you a controversial question. Everyone's jockeying for this particular seat here. You have one person, Jolanda Jones. Mm-hmm. Some people like her, some people don't. Mm-hmm. What makes you, not necessarily better, but what makes you the preferred pick over Jolanda Jones?
Well, Jolanda Jones is a career politician.
Okay.
And I always tell people, don't say that you've been in politics for 20 years when your community doesn't reflect that of a community of someone who cares about someone who has actually served that community. For example, I always tell them, stop popping your fingernails and rolling your neck when your community look the way it does. Stop boasting that you've been in politics for even 5 years when your communities that you are over as their representative looks the way that they do. You cannot boast of being in politics for 5 years, 20 years, and your community is still in the same condition that it was when you first became a politician. That's not boasting rights.
These are very strong words here. Let me ask you a question. Why do you think her particular district or neighborhood that she's over looks the way it does? I'm just very curious about that.
When you care about people, when you are compassionate about people, you're going to make sure that those people with the resources you have the best of the best. You don't want people that you give to, that you serve. If I serve you a meal, I'm going to put my heart and soul into it.
Okay.
When I served meals to our homeless people here in Houston for 17 years, I never served a sandwich and chips a day in my life. I served hot barbecue. I served Boston Market. I served McDonald's. I know it's unhealthy, but I like McDonald's. I've served Jack in the Box. One time,
okay,
one time when I did food distribution, I decided one day I'm going to go to each homeless person that I stop and give a meal to. I'm going to ask them, what do they want to eat today? They wanted Church's chicken, they wanted Jack in the Box, they wanted so many outrageous things. To me, it was outrageous, but that's what they wanted to eat.
Okay.
And I got them what they wanted, not what I wanted to give. Just because you're in a particular position does not make you any less of a human being than anyone. If I care about the people that I am serving, I'm going to make sure that they have the best of the best. Why? Because it is a reflection of me. Every community that Jolanda Jones, that Amanda Edwards, that Christian Menifee, that all of these longtime career politicians have served, every community that they have served, that they have been representatives of, because we're all in public service. When you go to those communities, you don't see compassion. You don't see care. You don't see where these representatives actually want the people in those communities to have the best of the best.
Understood.
Those communities are a direct reflection of their representatives. And so for me, if I'm giving you anything, if I'm doing anything for you, and everybody can attest to this, I'm always going to give you the best of it. If you have a baby, you can expect a Christian Dior blanket from me.
Well,
if you're getting married, when my children's father got married, God bless his soul, I sent a Lalique crystal drinking bowl to them. So when it comes to me, to me giving to people, even through my toy drives and everything, I gave Barbies, real Barbies, not the ones from the dollar store, from Toys R Us.
Don't nobody want them.
Nobody wants, yes, but people, that's what people are getting. They're getting substandard service. And again, the communities. I'm like, please don't boast about your tenure in public service, because your communities reflect exactly who you are as a person.
Understood.
When it comes to a leader in a community.
Where can people find you?
You can go to my website, www.valencia4congress.com. You can also email me at valencia4congress.com. And I just received a new phone number, so I can't give that out, or else I would. So you can reach me on my website. The first page has a contact me. You can send me a message. I personally answer all of those messages. Or you can email me. My team is not responsible for my emails. I answer every email. So you can reach me at either one of those outlets, and I will definitely answer you in a timely manner.
My name is Michael Thurber, photojournalist and sociologist here at VEDA World News. It is an absolute pleasure to sit here today with you, have this candid discussion. And again, we don't have to necessarily agree on everything,
Absolutely.
but we must, at the end of the day, remain friends.
Absolutely.
And this web series and this television show is always open to you.
I appreciate it. Next time I come, what I do want to make the community aware of is the Civil Rights Act.
Okay.
It is in jeopardy. It is on the Supreme Court's desk. And what someone is trying to do is they are trying to eliminate Section 2 of the Civil Rights Act, which does not sit well with me. We need to be more engaged. We need to look out for this. I am encouraging the Supreme Court of the United States of America to not remove Section 2 from the Civil Rights Act. Please keep it. We work very hard together as a race of people, as Americans, to make sure that the Civil Rights, all of the Civil Rights Act was passed. Let's please keep it in place by not removing Section 2 of the Civil Rights Act. Thank you, and on November the 4th, vote for me, Valencia Williams, as Texas's 18th Congressional District next congressional member. Thank you.
Thank you all.